Hello everyone, welcome. My name's Tholan, this is Great Life Gaming, and today we are looking at how to build the blast furnace in Foundry. We're going to go through the process step by step, how to build the furnace itself, and all the supporting structures like the stoves and the air intakes. So let's look at the blast furnace itself, and it's got some pretty steep requirements: concrete beams, machine parts, circuit boards. The stoves also are fairly hefty, so make sure you have all these things before you begin. All right, so you're going to need 2 air intakes, you're going to need 1 blast furnace, and you're going to need 3 stoves here. So we already have those built and ready to go. So let's start placing some of those down. All right. Okay, so we're going to be placing the stairs here on this left side. That's going to be a little bit important for our orientation, so don't forget that. I'll explain precisely why a little bit later. And let's grab now the stoves. So the stoves have a certain orientation. The smaller side here is where the cold air is being brought in, and the larger side is where the cold or hot air will be exiting. So we want to try and center this sort of with as much as we can with the blast furnace. So we put like 5 on this side. That should be good. We're actually going to do 6 on this side. So what I mean by that, we're going to have like 6 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the edge of the blast furnace. On this side, we should have 3. 1, 2, 3. And that spacing will become more apparent as why I'm doing that a little bit later on. Okay, and we want to place these hot stoves side by side, because you get a power bonus if you do that. They can't be off even by a single square, so make sure they're exactly side by side. Okay, and then we got to center also these air vents kind of with these stoves, so we can properly feed the stoves with the air intakes. And make sure you leave a space here. That's important, or else it won't work. The air intakes won't be able to build because we'll need to build a vent on this side. All right, let's get these things building so we can do some work, because these actually take quite a long time to build, and it's pretty time consuming to tear these things down. So it's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this guide, so reduces the chances of teardowns and that kind of thing. Okay, flare stack, and here's where I wanted to put these steps on this side. This is going to represent our output. So what the blast furnace does, it outputs, it heats the ore to a very, very high temperature and brings it into a molten form. So we'll need these smaller pipes to extract the ore, and we're going to feed them in the casters and make them into either plates or the rods. Okay, so but on this side is where we need to have the hot air intake. We're only going to need 1. We don't need any more than that. 1 is more than sufficient, so we'll try to save on the amount of construction material, but we also need a conveyor attachment. Again, we only need 1. So the theory is, or the basic design is here, we're going to have the inputs coming in from the right, outputs going into the left, and we'll kind of have like a long column of tileable blast furnaces. Okay, so let's get that started. Get that underway, and let's now work on our first stove. All right, so let's build out the stove to its maximal configuration. There we go. And the stoves can either be powered by the high voltage grid, or they can be powered by this burner. I guess that's a source of ignium, some kind of ore that can be burned, or some kind of other fuel source. Okay, but you can only have 1, you can't have both. So let's just remove this, and we're going to go with the high voltage grid as our power source. Okay, and we only need 1 input pipe. We're going to put that second from the bottom, and the output pipe is going to be right at the bottom. So it should be slightly staggered in that fashion. Okay, let's start that construction, and let's just duplicate the other 2 stoves with the exact same configuration. Okay, high-powered grid. One up, one down, in and out. Start that one. Off to the races. Tower, tower. Oops. The top part. The very aptly named top part. Okay, they get that one going too. And let's get these vents also started. Okay, this is actually somewhat important. These are facing the right way, so we're going to go on this side. And where is our little shadowy figure there? Okay, so we want the actual pipe utility panel, they call it in this case, to face that way. So we want the two vents to actually point towards each other. That's where the air is going to come out of, and we're going to attach that all together and feed these hot stoves from there. All right, there we go. We can start this one. We're going to do the same on this side. And remember, these are going to point into each other, so let's make sure it does that. So here's going to be the panel. And every time you add a vent here, you'll notice we get 100% extra speed. So you do want to make sure you configure this to its maximal configuration. Okay, and that's it. No more things to add. Start construction there. All right, and to test to make sure we got these distances correct, we should be able to attach a pipe right in the middle here. And this is going to be a T-junction. There we go. So that looks actually correct. It has to be up a little bit. It's a little bit harder to attach before they're built. Okay, that should be right. Yeah, it looks like right. So you'll notice when you do these modular configurations, you'll see these kind of things jutting out. Wherever you put an input pipe or an output pipe, that's where you need to attach the pipes. So let's actually do that here. Okay, so that should go like so. And we need a configuration like this. Okay, and we need one spacer over here. And there we go. So when that hot stove finishes building, all those should just magically connect. And then let's get an attachment this way. The same fashion. Boom. Like that. And let's bring one out this way. And we'll make this a T-junction here if we ever do want to extend our blast furnace, which you probably will. You can actually just tile these hot stoves together. So you retain, if we just tile them this way, you'll retain the bonus to power. So that's what we'll design this to do. There we go. Okay. And there we go. That's the basic piping for the inputs. Just like so. We'll worry about the outputs when things are a little further along in construction. Okay, let's go up to the top now, and let's worry about what we have to do up here. So this is where the conveyor belt inputs are going to be. We need to build a little platform here so we can actually do the smelting, whatever else we need to do to get all our materials ready to be input into the blast furnace. So this is the highest point of right here. It's good to mark off. That's the highest point that these hot stoves can be built to. So we're going to build just on top of them, like so. Okay, so we'll go right to like this edge. Okay, and we're going to build these out pretty much to the edge of the blast furnace. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we just have a nice platform that really doesn't take up any more real estate than at least the width of the whole assembly itself. So we're going to go back to the stove, right to the length of the stove, and we'll do the same thing over here. Oops, a little too far. Okay, we should be good. Yeah, that's the right length. That's the right width. All right, let's take a look here. So this is where the conveyor belts are going to need to be input. Now, what's interesting about this is actually one off. So we just, you'll see what I mean when things get a little further along when that blast furnace is done. So let's just create a little bit more space for us here, so we can ensure we get all the belting into the blast furnace. Okay. Now the blast furnace accepts two green belts of ore. Not rubble, but ore. So we'll need to crush the ore that's incoming before it goes into the blast furnace. So let's give ourselves a little bit of space as well, just for good measure here. Let's configure this, but we don't have power, so let's go get some power. Oop. We have a hole. And there are multiple ways you could probably get power to this platform. We're just gonna drop. There we go. Just drop a little foundation to this lower level. You can go, if you have power up at a higher level, you can go there. Whatever makes the most sense for your particular situation. There we go. That's kind of nice and out of the way as well. It's not going to cause any problems. And here we go. We can now configure this for Technum. We'll configure this blast furnace to process the Technum ore. All right. And it's probably worthwhile just to look at the inputs and outputs. We need the Technum rubble, and we have to provide it with 80 per minute in order to keep this guy going, and it has a 1-to-1 relationship, so we also have the exact same number of the ore coming out at 80 per minute. So in order to get one full belt, one full green belt, we're going to need 8 of these. 8 times 80 is 640, and 640 is the throughput of a green belt. So let's get 8 of them. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and let's organize the belts. We are going to need an input belt, so let's say this is the input belt, and we are going to need an output belt. This would be the output belt, and we're going to need, of course, the loaders. So input, and we'll need the outputs. And oops, and I'm missing a belt right there. Bad, bad. Okay, so that gives us one belt of rubble input and ore as output. Now we just have to duplicate this, do it on the other side. So we'll have an input here. Let's do like a mirror image here. Okay, that's the output belt, and here we can have an input belt. Same deal. Let's do this just on the other side, right here. We have lots of room. And this will be the input. Okay, so let's make 8 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and let's get the outputs. And there we go. Okay, it should look something like this. Looks like I've done it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there we go. 2 full belts of ore ready to go. Alright, so next let's look at the cooked ignium. And the cooked ignium is processed in the advanced smelter. Okay, now we're going to need 16 advanced smelters in order to get 1 full green belt of cooked ignium out of these. Now we don't know the numbers, like if you're doing this for the first time, you can't actually put something in here. Maybe if you had something in your inventory, you could put it in there just so you could see what the numbers are. But it is 16, and we'll confirm that once we get some of the materials coming in. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, one more, and 8. We're going to have to do it also on the other side to get the 16, and we need to leave a space of 4 between them. So we're going to have an input belt and an output belt here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let's design the inputs. Now the input here for the Ignium is actually very little, and of course we should make sure it's also crushed, because we don't want rubble, we want crushed pure Ignium going in to be cooked. Now we're going to leave a bit of a space here because we're going to actually combine the output of these two crushers, so we also need to crush the Ignium. Okay, so that means we're going to need an output like this, or sorry, an input like this. So there's going to be a little Ignium there. Well, some Ignium here. And the output is fairly low level as well, so we'll do like this. And we'll do it like this. Okay. Alright, so let's design the inputs and outputs. Or place them at the very least here. So this is our input, 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 output, 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 input, and input. There we go. That gives us our crushed Ignium. We can actually get rid of this just to make sure it's very clear what the inputs and outputs are. Okay, now we need to combine these two into a single green belt. So to do that, we're going to need one of these. All right, and we'll have, I guess, this one here as our input. And then we'll have another one here as our output. Okay, so next, let's design the next part. So this needs to be an input like this. Boom. Okay, and we're going to have an output here. Okay, and then this needs to be an input here. And this will need to be an output here. There we go. So that looks pretty good. Input, input, output, output. All right, now let's just place everything, all the rest for the rest of them. All the other loaders for the rest of these smelters. Oh, make sure we have a belt there. Oh, let's here. I want to actually change this belt. There. That actually does not need to be a green belt. But this one does. The output belt does. And while it's not necessary to do this, I tend to like designing my belts so that I know which ones are high throughput and which ones are not. And just a visual cue like that is helpful. I might get over that once I get a little more confident in all my builds. And we also now need the inputs over here. And of course the outputs. Oh, that's not what we want. And that one's already done. Awesome. Alright, so at the end of the day, it should look more or less like that. Input, input, output, output, input, input, output, output, all the way down the line. Excellent. Alright. And that gives us our cooked ignium. And we also then need, oops, oh no, just one line here for the mineral stone. And the mineral stone doesn't need any processing whatsoever, so that's just a direct line. All right, cool. Oh, look at all these lovely construction drones all over the place. All right, so let's actually plug this in with some of the materials, so we have them. We have some already here kind of available to us. Oh, this only needs to be, there we go. We don't need any more than that into the furnace. Okay. Same deal here. We need to split this though, so we're going to need one belt of yellow. So let's just split this like so. Oh wow, even got the distance like exactly there. Pretty good. Okay, let's wire these in too. Might as well do this. Believe this is right. Let's go. Oh yeah. Awesome sauce. All right, let's take a look here. So we got the Ignium being crushed, and now we actually can see the values here on the, let's just drop this so we can see what's going on here. So this is what's important, the 40 per minute. So 60 per minute income and 40 per minute out. So in order to get a full belt coming out, that's why we need the 16. So 16 times 40 is our 640. Okay, and we only need a pretty low input, so it's also 16 times 16. What is that? That's, I think, less than, I think that's a little more than a red belt, but less than actually a yellow belt for crushed stuff. And that requires these 4 crushers to supply. All right, so far so good. Now we just have to wait for our blast furnace to finish building, and then we can actually feed it appropriately here. You can see why we left a little bit of space here. It'll be more apparent why there's even these gaps here when this is all done. So how far along is this guy? 90%. Awesome. Okay, well that's working. We might as well start looking at the output pipes here. So the same deal, we can make this pipe a T-junction. Actually, let's start on this end, it'll be a little easier. Actually, it won't be actually any easier, so let's just do it like this. T-junction. We just have to take off snapping mode. And this one we could put right up against. Okay, T-junction in case we ever wish to expand. And another T-junction. And another T-junction. think if we do that, let's try this. Then we have a curve. Beautiful. Okay, and we just have another curve. We don't need, this is the start, the end of the line. And boom! Look at that, fits like a glove. So that's the output air coming out of there, nicely lined up. It all looks good. And we have the input air on this side, all looks good. Now we are going to have to worry about getting power to this. That's a little bit tricky, but not too bad. So let's actually start planning for that. So let's get some of this power moved over there. Of course, this is a little bit just, I probably would organize this differently going long term. Okay, so now we have power available to us on this side. And the other side, if necessary. All right. Wow, we're rocking here. 90% assigned. We still need a few more. So it's like all of these are like probably almost done. Oh, that one hasn't even started yet. Oh, that one. Oh. What's going on there? Oh, they're still bringing materials. Wow, look at that. That's so cool. This guy should just about be done by now. Okay, well that's finishing up. Let's take a look at the output side. So part of our design here, what we're going to do is going to take these casters. All right, and let's see if I got this right. I'm not sure if I got this right until I actually place it down and turn it on. Okay, so this is going to be a Technum. So we're going to do the rods, and therefore this side is the input. I did get it right. So good, we'll fire one of the pipes along here, and we'll have an input belt along this line, like so. Okay. Then we're going to butt these up right beside each other like this. And then this should line up hopefully perfectly. Right, so we'll have another pipe coming in like so. We'll have another belt coming off like so. And this has to be like so. Oh, I don't think that quite worked out, did it? I need to shift over one, I think. Yeah, darn. It's a little easier to do once the blast furnace is built. Okay, let's just shift that over by one. Okay, here we go. Should be even on each side. That's it. Now this hangs over a little bit by about 3 spaces outside of the blast furnace width, but that's fine. We could deal with that. That's not that big a deal. Oh, this is not lined up though. For some reason. There. And the last ones go here. All right, this will all make sense in a minute or so here. There we go. Okay, that's now centered along the width of the blast furnace. And we're going to see an output go like so. And this will be outputting the rods. Okay, and we'll have the same thing here, here. So this gives us 4 belts. Now we can actually support 6 belts. And in order to get that to the last 2, we're going to actually elevate and just go up 1 level. Okay. So if we place this guy like right along here, we're going to go right to the width of that belt. And do the same thing over here. And there we go. So we have another platform here. So let's just extend this a little bit. I might run a foundation, but we don't need much space just to show you the overall pattern. Now we just need to duplicate this up top. That should be right. I think so. Yeah, looks good. Oh, of course, we're going to need some power up here. We'll do the same deal. Okay. And that's already configured. And there we go. All right, there's our 6 belts of output. And just to be clear, this is also an output. We'll go like so. Okay. Nice. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That can now we have to make these each of these lines. So we need 16 of these. So we need 96 casters in total. So that means each line will be 16 long. We're not going to build those right here, because that's going to take a lot of casters, and you generally don't need that many at once. You might need 1 belt to start off with, and you might go to 2 or 3 and kind of expand that way. But if you try to build them all at once, you'll be gobbling up a lot of power, and you'll be using up a lot of resources you probably don't need at that time. But it's up to you. If you want to build it out right away, feel free. The casting machine. I also need this chemical processor. All right, the chemical processor is required to work with the slag. We need to deal with the slag. So that's one of the outputs of the blast furnace, which we haven't really talked about yet. So we need to configure this guy to deal with the slag. So we'll have one of these. Yeah, there's the slag for input. And we need to put... So he actually outputs cement, which is actually going to be nice for us, because we could actually feed that into our build. Okay, so we can have a belt. We don't need much of this. Gosh, we can like put a red belt here. And what we're going to do, you actually need about 7 of these chemical processors. So you can imagine, actually we probably should move this over a bit. Here, let's move this over, and then you can tile them. I'm not going to build all of that out here. That'll take a little bit too much time. Move it over a wee bit, say like to there. There we go. And we could bring the slag in on that side. It doesn't really matter which side. And, oh shoot. All right, there we go. Okay, so once you've got a hold of the cement, we could funnel whatever as much as we can into the rest of our build, and we can use that as part of our factory. But we need to deal with any of the extra or the leftovers. So once you've got your 6 chemical plants, you could actually scale these. You can put them on either side. You can stagger them. So just leave enough room to get 7 on here. I just wanted to show you a nice little design you can make for dealing with the extras. Don't want to use up too much of my foundation here. So we need the incinerator. And the incinerator is a nice little machine. Okay, let's leave 2 spaces there. And we're just going to put a splitter here. I got a high-powered one here, but it doesn't need to be. It's all that I have. And then we're just going to put this into the incinerator. Okay, and we're gonna prioritize all output onto the right-hand belt. And this belt you could then feed into your factory, which could be out here somewhere or whatever. And anything that's extra will go into the incinerator. And I think you need about 3 of these at most to handle the full output of the entire blast furnace. So it's not really that crazy at all. Okay, and everything else, you just gotta pipe things in as things complete here. Oh, look at this! It's gonna be done. There we go. Look at that. Okay, so now that our blast furnace is actually built, let's actually look at all of the configurations for our blast furnace, okay? So, take a quick look here. Let's actually start her up. Oh, let's actually set first. We're going to set this to Tectum Processing. We're going to start it. Now we could see here. Here's where it tells us what the inputs are. There's our 2 belts of the ore, 1 belt of the ignium, and then 1 yellow belt of the mineral rock. Not even a full yellow belt. Okay, and here's where it's telling us how much of the air we're going to need. 324,000 liters per minute. Okay, and you see we don't have it loaded at all currently. But before we can even get it operational, you'll see here it says at the bottom here, not all pipe connections have a set filter. So let's make sure all our pipe connections have a set filter. So we've got a pipe connection here, and this pipe connection is a little difficult to find. But well, once you know where it is, it's obviously not difficult to find. You just got to go to the end of the pipe. Ugh. If I can get in here. Might be easier just to walk here. And you'll see you got this little button. And I don't know why you need to set this, because there's only air coming in here. You'll never get these things, but it forces you to set it. If you don't set it, it will not work. It will not work. Okay, so that's important. We'll actually just go down the steps here. Okay, and we have to do over here. This is one of the reasons why I configured this to only have minimal number of pipes. We just don't have to worry about it. Alright, so we're configuring the slag to go out over there, so let's put slag on over here. There we go. Now, it'll say we don't get that warning message anymore, which is perfect. So we have to then, of course, connect all the pipes. So if we have a pipe here, like this, like boom, and boom, and over here, Boom. Almost don't have enough space there. Nice. Kind of just worked out that way. We'd have to do a little bit of messing around with the pipes to get it all lined up and all that stuff. So we can have one guy going out this way. Does that actually perfectly line up? No, it doesn't. So then we have to come down. Actually, let's come down first. So we'll put like this. There are many different ways you can do this. I don't have any recommendation one way or the other, but you get the idea. And over. Okay. All right, I'm not going to connect the rest of them. You guys get the idea. This is just some regular pipe work. We'd have to extend one over this way and put it into here and all that good stuff. But at least we'll get one of them operational, just you see how it all works. Okay, let's go up top now that our blast furnace is done, and let's look at our belt inputs. And you can see here that the actual belt inputs are just one level down. It's a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's why we had to, we want to be on top of our hot stoves. We need to have a little bit more room here. Okay, so let's actually put this here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now let's do this. Okay, there's the cooked Ignium. And here's the ore, and there we go. Just like that. Our blast furnace is being fed. Fed some yummy, yummy goodness. Actually make that like so. All right. There we go, and everything should be running. Okay, let's go take a look at our inputs for our furnace. Now we should have everything but the hot air because it hasn't finished building yet. So here we go. Contents are increasing, but we have no hot air. Hot air consumption per minute is 0. All right, let's go check on our vents. We're going to have to do some connections here. So let's get, oh, we missed by 1. My bad. There. Okay. So we did bring our power over. Let's get some of the power just hooked up. It's a little bit tricky to get some of this power hooked up, but obviously not impossible. There's one. We could start that guy up, even though it doesn't really have the air yet. Let's get power over here. Here's where it's a little bit tricky. So we're going to need to use some of these wall-mounted power hookups. Okay, let's go like this. Can I go directly to? Oh no, let's go on the other side. These guys are busy. We'll connect it to the pipe. Oh no, it doesn't quite. Something's always in the way. Always something, right? Alright, let's create a little guy. Look at that, and that's finished. Okay, and then we just have to bring this around. In fact, we could probably move this over a little bit. It'd be easier. Like this. Now, can I go directly to? No. Okay, let's just go. There we go. That works, more or less. Okay, we're going to need another one here, though, to get to... over here. Okay, so a little bit of funky wiring you have to do in order to get into this space here. So this guy is now... so we'll start him up. And this guy's connected. He's started up. This guy here is... where's the connection for him? Is right there. Okay, we'll start this guy up. And those guys are going. And we'll start this guy up. Oh, no connection for this guy yet. That's easy enough. Start him up. Alright, so let's take a look here. Alright, so let's take a look at our numbers. So this guy has 162,000 liters per minute. And if we actually want to get our 324,000, what do we need? Let's get our handy dandy calculator so you guys know. 162, so you know where these numbers come from. 162,000 times 2. There we go. So that's why we need 2 vents. That gives us the airflow we need for that. And these guys have an output rate of 108,000. And 108,000 times 3. And there we go. That's how. Now that's why we need 3 hot stoves. Okay, and they should all be running at 100% now. Boom. Yeah, boom. Boom. And let's check our... here we go. Operating stats. Hot air consumption per minute. It is receiving. Confirmed to receive 324,000 of liters per minute. And confirmed by the temperature going up. So this thing will start operating at 1500 degrees Celsius. And it's still accepting a few of the ingredients there. Do a quick check to make sure all that's working. And there we go. It's looking good. Oh, this should be a high powered belt. I don't know how I changed this. I think I changed this by mistake. That's why it was lagging behind a bit. Alright, cool beans. And that's basically how you create your blast furnace. Once we start getting some of the, I don't think it's coming out yet because we still got to get the temperature going. We'll actually get the hot molten technum coming out of here. It'll take a few more minutes for this to reach temperature. And we'll see it working. So let's actually just wait. It'll probably just take about 30 seconds here. It's going up at a pretty good clip. So you can imagine how this will look, right? We just got to expand all these casters. You could expand this this other layer, this second level. Probably you'd need 7 of these chemical processors to deal with all the slag and so on and so forth. And that's what it's going to look like, is kind of like this over here, right? Here I have a completed one. Actually, I only have 5 over here. I actually have more. I have 10 between the 2 blast furnaces. So this is basically how it'll look like right here. I'm actually sharing the incineration between the 2. And this still isn't at full capacity, which you see over here. Because I would need a little bit more, a few more chemical processors to deal with all the slag. But that's nearly 100%. Anyway, I kind of wish I knew all this stuff before I started. That's kind of why I wanted to make this guide here. I haven't connected the pipes here for the slag. And we're almost at 1500 degrees Celsius. Assuming all this works, we should see liquid. There we go. And there it is. Beautiful, lovely liquid then. And now it's working. There we go. So that, my friends, is how you build your blast furnace. Leave a like, subscribe. If you got anything out of this, come check me out on Twitch. I'm at Twitch at Tholen1000. Great Life Gaming. I'll be streaming my Foundry playthrough for the next few weeks, hopefully for many years to come. This is an awesome game. It's still in early access. Thank you guys for watching. I hope if you came right to the end, thanks so much, and we'll catch you on the next guide. Bye.